climate change was found to be one of the reasons for a decrease in the bird population worldwide. So how do environmentalists and bird watchers view the overall effect of climate change on birds?
How much of an effect climate change has on bird populations. I think we have a lot to learn about that, but I think there are impacts and there are effects of that. Are they net negative or net positive? I would probably assume they're changes. Right? Birds are moving to different areas. Different birds are in different places. But when you start looking at migrations, the timing of different things are changing. If the birds arrive at a different time relative to food resources, or food resources are shifting from where they've been, the rate of change that we're seeing right now is so fast. I worry about the rate of evolutionary change to keep up with that. So I think the more we look at this, the more we're going to start seeing there are impacts, but it's a pretty new area of study and a pretty new field, and teasing out what's causality from patterns is tricky.
Bird watchers have made it their job to monitor birds, and their observations are not only interesting but telling.
Definitely there is. Between climate change and the bird migrations, the birds are going to adapt. Okay, they're not stupid. Okay, and what's going to happen is that some species are going to flourish and some species obviously are going to either be diminished or die off. And I think that's been going on for thousands of years. And sure, climate change is going to affect it.
Well, I found that the eagles are hanging around longer in Cumberland County, where I monitor the eagle nests. And then the ducks, it's been crazy the past couple of years with the ducks migrating. Because of global warming, we're having that Indian summer going all the way until November.
What I'm hearing from the people who are birding is that they are seeing some changes, and that could be just in the flight patterns and the timing of some of the birds coming through during migration. So that's what I've been hearing, and actually, like I said, I've been seeing that as well.
I can't say that there's no connection, but I haven't seen a marked connection.
There's a Cooper has just attacked a sharpshin hawk. Climate change is making the springs warmer earlier, so the insects hatch earlier, but the birds are still getting here around the same time. So that's just bad for their populations because the food is peaking when they're not here.
And they say sometimes you have bird fluctuations with the amount of birds that come through, but this year I've noticed a lack of birds in my backyard specifically, because that's where I'm constantly monitoring, and I can monitor it every day. So that, I think, is definitely a sign of something. It's climate change, habitat loss, or I'm not sure, but it's something I've noticed. So.
Climate change is an existential threat to the survival of bird species on this planet. It is changing the bloom time for plants. It is affecting when insects emerge. It is disrupting, it is elevating the sea level. So it's the pace of change that birds and natural systems can't respond to. They can't handle that scope, that magnitude. So we need to address climate change immediately in order to ensure the future survival of nature's ambassadors, birds.
And how does the scientific community weigh in on a connection between climate change and birds?
There is a demonstrable link between climate change and birds. Bird populations are declining, shifting, otherwise changing in direct response to climate change, in direct response to events that are occurring in terms of increased weather phenomenon, increased severity of weather phenomenon that affects birds, and also the slow change in climate in terms of increased temperature that's happening, changes in global weather patterns that are happening. All of that functions to alter bird behavior in various different ways. It affects bird migration, it affects the timing of bird migration, it affects where and how birds migrate. And that's a huge change that's going to be happening on the landscape if you have climate change. If you take it to an example that's local, we have a lot of shorebirds in the area. If you eliminate the beach straight up to the uplands in a geologically fast fashion, 50 years, 100 years is a blink of an eye, geologically, that will most definitely affect the bird populations.